Hello, my name is Gabriel, and welcome to a new episode from Concierge OS. In this episode, we want to migrate to SQL Alchemy, Pydantic, and filter out client reservations and client information only with LLMs. Another little thing that we want to implement is a button somewhere here that calls our increment day function in the database to shift the dates one day forward. This button we will use daily, so it makes sense to have it somewhere visible. Now for the implementation, probably the easiest is to ask the LLM to create a header for our website and add that button. Then we will do the database refactoring. So we want to have the reusable header in the template and then a button to the right. While we add this header, I would like it to also apply to reservation.html, and I would like it to be a reusable component that we can actually reuse later on. Okay, let's analyze a little bit the outcome. So it will create a header HTML. It will add a new endpoint, which will perform a post request. I would like this endpoint to be structured a little bit better. So I want to put the endpoint under debug service because there will be more in the future. For sure, we will need to regenerate more things, and that will make sure that it keeps things tidier. In this case, we have stopped testing because it will press on the button to see that it works, and that will result in the LLM shifting the reservation days one step forward. We can do this manually, and by doing so, we will also have a look and feel on how things work right now and request more things if need be. There is a header indeed, and this is our shift one day button. As a test, we can see this room has a checkout date on 20th, and by refreshing, now it has a checkout date on 21st. From this state, let's understand a little bit what the LLM tried to achieve. We already have reservation.html. This is the whole page. What was desired was to split this whole page in two, and here have the header, and here have the reservations. What has been produced? It's slightly different. Inside the whole reservation, it created an external little bit of header, and it injected this header into the reservation. But the downside is that now the reservation can apply CSS, so can apply drawings and functionality inside the header. So it controls the header. It looks good, but it will be problematic as soon as we create a second page, because this second page will have to include inside it this reservation, and will have to be responsible for styling and for making it run. And this is not what we want. What we want is for the header to be a self-contained bit of HTML with its own styling there, and with its own JavaScript, and we want it to be referenced every time and reused without having to re-implement everything. So we will use a second prompt to fix this. And while it's working, another thing that it did, another decision it took that I'm not happy with, is the fact that it duplicated our shift reservation functionality inside the debug.py. We just want a root /debug/shift reservations. That is correct, but inside this root, we want to call the existing functionality. So next prompt will be fixing this. And then we should make sure that we stop it when it tries to test this functionality, because otherwise it will shift once more in the future. Perfect. Now reservation.html will be clean again, and it should have just one line added to it. This is the inclusion of the header, and this seems to be the only change that we have in this file. Good. This has been reverted. There is nothing there. This is the only change. Perfect. Now we should do the same for debug. It looks much better. We have a call for shift reservations with the number of days that we want. And in shift reservations, the refactoring looked a little bit massive, but in reality it wasn't. It just grouped functionality in some functions so it can reuse the code. And this is fine. Before moving forward, it is a good idea to try starting the server because it can end up with errors like this. Probably inside shift reservations. Here it needs utils and it will not find it because of the scope. Here we can see some of the pitfalls of using LLMs. In order to test, it followed the instructions of starting the server. Yes, this is correct. However, it went further, and first it tried shifting the reservation one day back, and then shifting the reservation one day forward. In reality, it was a good move. However, it avoided a little bit the instructions. We told it to not do that. This can happen every time when working with LLMs. This is why further on, instead of allowing the LLM access to everything, we will create a list of functions that it can access, and it will not have access to everything else. Let's start the server once more. Perfect. 21st. Yes. Now we are happy with the progress. This would conclude the first chapter of today's work. So in the second chapter, we want to migrate the application to SQL Alchemy and Pydantic. Let's review the analysis a little bit. I am a little bit concerned about trying to add this manually to project.toml. I would prefer to use UV. Like this, UV, the environment manager, will manage all this automatically and also include all the others that might have been missed. Let's see. So as we can see already, by using UV, it just added one dependency, not all the others that it wanted to. Another win, it is to extract the reservation statuses from the hard-coded list that they are now in. So here we have multiple check constraints where the status should be one of those. We want them to, in an external list, to reuse them across the application. Same for booking channels. We want them in a different list. We do have better queries. We don't have strings everywhere. We can move forward. What I would do now, I would ask it to, so far so good. I will compact this task. This means that it makes everything smaller and tries to keep a conclusion what has been done. Because I want to reuse the same context, the same information that has been stored already, to continue the refactoring a little bit. So here it's trying to write down whatever the LLM thinks is relevant from all the conversation that has happened. We apply the same concept, the right concept as yesterday, where we try to reuse the relevant information throughout the application. And when we will make a change later in the future, it will have a wider impact, but it will also propagate all the places where it should. Looking at these setup errors, there are some queries here, and I would like them to be refactored to use SQL Alchemy also. Instead of going through them one by one, there is a better approach. We can use the LLM to code review the work that has been done already on this branch and suggest where there should be changes. So let's compact the work once more. Usually before doing a code review and doing refactoring, it is good to preserve the work that has been done. Okay. Because as soon as we stack changes on top of changes, things can break easily, and then we spend more time debugging what has happened. Let's go over the answer. So first, app models, columns, should use. Okay, check-in, check-out date. Yes, I agree. App models, booking source should be an enum. Yes. Have we missed it? Booking source. Ah, yes, correct. Here, the whole map string. Yes, it's an enum. Core.py. Get a reservation grouped by room. Identical query. Yes, correct. Yes, okay. In .py. Correct. Okay. Raw S these were raw SQLs that we wanted to have them fixed. Correct. Okay. Let's go with those also. The booking source change is welcome change, because later, as more services are being added and data is being retrieved from other integrators, it will be very easy to add them down there. Okay, now the refactoring is complete. The only thing left is this. So after the refactoring, it says that no errors are detected. So upon analyzing the differences, the solution or the proposed solution is to add logging and see where it breaks. I agree with this. This is exactly what I would do. For me, the logging would be in core.py in this case, where I want to see that the number of rows retrieved is the correct one, and then the if statement works as expected. It already ran previously an SQL query manually, and it did find the 4 erroneous reservations, so they exist in the database. So let's see where it goes. The last problem has been resolved. In the end, I have asked the LLM to add more logging in core.py because there was nothing wrong with the database, because investigating in the previous task the wrong path. After adding the extra logs, it has been revealed that it could not find the path to the file where we store the reservation with errors, and by pasting the actual output of the logging, this has been resolved. Now the last step is to remove the logging which has been added, revert core.py to its previous form. Then we can move to chapter number 3, where we create a mock functionality in which we give the name of a guest and we let the LLM retrieve that guest from the database. So in this chapter, we would like to create a new web page in which there is a text field. In that text field, we can add the name of a customer, no matter the language. We will copy it from the current page. And we feed to the LLM in the same prompt the name that we are searching for and all the database. This is a very crude approach to our problem, but it is the approach that will validate our idea. So I want to create a new web page which accepts a customer name. The customer name will be sent to an Open API compatible endpoint together with a whole list of guests and reservations. The LLM should return all the information about this guest. Same as before, in order to add a dependency, we want to use UV-Sync. Good, the implementation is done. Let's test it. We have this name, and when we click search, now it will take a while. This is the reason why we have started with so many rooms and so many guests, in order to see how it performs with a very large data set. And from here on, we will add performance tests, and we will make sure that we decrease this time more and more until we get to a very nice response time. Also, we'll be playing with other models because this one has a very high precision, but in our case, we don't need such a high precision. We don't generate information. We just select some information from the existing information. Here we have it. Our name returned 4 guests with different statuses. And from here on, we can start improving things. So the proof of concept is working. Thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next episode.